Thank you so much for coming tonight. My name is Hunter Voorhees, and I've been a chaplain with Taylor County Detention Ministries for about 7 years. Many of you I've only talked to over the phone. You've told me your stories about being tortured, having your teeth knocked out, having your ribs kicked in. You've told me about beatings from baseball bats, thugs. There's been so much that's been going on. And basically how I started doing this was about 3 years ago. I got a complaint at the jail. I looked into it. The facts were hazy in it, and the DA's office was very helpful. I determined that this story was exaggerated. But then other stories started coming in. And it was the same names that kept on popping up. The same jailers or corrections officers' names. I filed complaints with about 5 of the corrections officers. 2 have been arrested and fired, according to my understanding. And that would be Officer McCandless and Matthew Van. Matthew Van for providing drugs to an inmate in solitary confinement to commit suicide. We have his medical records here. 6 days later, again, after being treated at Hendricks Medical Center, ODs again. How does a man in solitary confinement get drugs? How does a man get drugs? Stomach pumped again, or however they treat you, and then a couple weeks later, slits his wrists. How, when you're on suicide watch, in solitary confinement, can you slit your doggone wrists? I've had so many reports. Sergeant Andre Moore. I get more complaints about him being a very sadistic man, torturing people with pepper spray, strapped into a restraining chair, eyelids lifted back, squirted in the eyes. We've had reports of squirting pepper spray on the genitals, on the toilet paper when people are sleeping, walking by and squirting some pepper spray in the room so that they can't sleep very well. And so I looked more and more into the Sheriff's Department stuff. And then I would hear complaints about the Abilene PD, and I didn't want to believe it. I was raised, my mom was a reserve officer, my father, stepfather, lieutenant in the police force, my brother is a detective in the police force. I didn't want to hear complaints about the police because it kind of hit home. But we have a man here that's had his skull fractured and his teeth knocked out. We have a woman here that's had her rotator cuff torn in her shoulder, her hand broken,